You are listening to Proof Text, a Glossa House podcast exploring scripture with Dr. T. Michael W. Halcomb and Dr. Fredrick J. Long. Welcome and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Proof Text. I'm Michael Halcomb and I'm here with Dr. Fred Long. Fred, how's it?
Good, Michael. And you doing well?
I'm doing well. We have another GrammarPoint episode here, and we are continuing this long journey with verbs. We've discussed things like tense and principal parts and all kinds of other things. And now we're at this thing called voice, grammatical voice. So, Fred, let's hear some of your thoughts and insights on that. We'll see where this goes. What is grammatical voice when it comes to verbs?
Yeah, voice is has to do with the subject's relationship to the action of the verb. It's as simple as that. So it's the second thing that is usually parsed. Usually we parse verbs. Parse means to explain the grammatical information about the verb, the information that's marked in the in the formations, the endings. And one of the things, so we have tense. The second thing is marked is voice, and then mood. So we're going to we're talking about voice. So voice is the subject's relationship to the action of the verb. And what that we're going to go into some of the weeds of what that looks like, but in Greek you basically have three voices: active, subject doing the action; middle, the subject acting in a way that it's marked for it involving them in a more direct way; and then passive is that the action is actually being done to the subject, and we'll go into that in more detail. But simple sentence just to illustrate that: I hit the ball. I is the subject, am active. That's active voice. I am doing the hitting. I am hitting for myself the ball, or I bathe myself. In Greek, the word bathe or clean is middle voice, and that's when the subject is kind of doing the action in a way that it affects them. And in terms of bathing, we're actually scrubbing and responsible for that action. And then passive would be using the word hit, is I am hit by the ball. So I am the subject, but I'm passive, and something's being done to me. So Greek has three voices: active, middle, and passive. And the passive is debated. Sometimes it's understood as like a component of the middle, and really there's probably like a spectrum of how much the subject is affected in the acting of the verb. So you have like very much involved, and it's really, but to not involved,
Right.
but still being affected by it. And that one end would be the passive. And I think in the Greek language, probably Michael has more opinions about this than I do, and probably studied it a little bit more, is that the passive formation of the aorist separated out, probably to acknowledge this as something distinctive in the language, to be actually have its own grammatical form. But that form, actually, the aorist passive form, actually sometimes has middle significance. So that's a matter of debate. So voice.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I describe voice, I tend to go immediately to subject affectedness or involvedness, maybe as a way to describe it as well. And then the stuff about the passive. I teach that there's only two voices, in that at least in the era of koine, that the passive had largely fallen out. But I like this idea of subject affectedness, and you're starting to get into that there. I do want to say that because when we've been doing these grammar episodes or GrammarPoint episodes, I've been giving the Greek vocabulary for the concepts we're talking about. So before we leave, just want to mention that the word diathesis, that starts with a delta. You might say in Erasmian something like diathesis, but diathesis. So for active voice, we would say energia diathesis, where we get our word energy from. And then for the middle voice, you would say mese diathesis. And then we could talk about all the patheticu or pathetike functions of the middle voice. But yeah, so
So the
diathesis.
so the
Voice.
pathetike is what would be considered the passive, right?
Yeah. Or you could just say pathe, but pathetike, pathe,
Yeah.
either one. Yeah.
So, okay, voice, how the subject relationship to the action of the verb in Greek, learning, active, middle, passive is being a little bit debated. Some of the forms, the middle passive forms are exactly the same. And then maybe arguably the aorist passive actually has some middle significance as well. So maybe that one arguably is the same. So yeah, that's the middle, the voice, the verb, Greek voice.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, or better yet, share. We appreciate your listenership. And until next time, we hope that helps.
Interested in growing your ancient language skills but not sure where to start? Glossa House can help. From illustrated readers and short stories to lexicons and grammars, Glossa House offers a variety of resources for beginning, intermediate, and experienced ancient language learners. Head to glossahouse.com today. Glossa House, language resources for the global community.